1989 was a big year for humans. We got rid of that big wall, we tried to put a lady in prison for 141,000 years, we made a fifth Star Trek movie, and we even invented oral sex. But that's all crap compared to the real triumph of 1989, the debut of two of the most beloved fictional characters in recent human memory, Wallace and Gromit. Wallace and Gromit was my earliest introduction to stop-motion animation, and it quickly became my favorite form of animation. But Wallace and Gromit didn't just look great. It also told a fun story about a man and his dog escaping on a getaway to the moon. There's something so simple and fun about Wallace and Gromit, and it never fails to put a smile on my face. Except when they look like this.
Hey! Well, there you go, Gromit. The ladies will love this. Hey! Turn it off now, Gromit!
Now, I'm sure many of you have seen screenshots of this before, and if you haven't, I'm sorry, but you gotta grow up at some point, alright? The nightmare doesn't stop just because you're awake. This is live-action Wallace and Gromit, and it scares the shit out of me. This 3-minute short has been the source of a lot of nightmares and confusion here on the internet, so I wanted to take some time in this video to explain what the story behind this thing is. Now, contrary to uninformed beliefs, this is not some piece of lost media from a canceled live-action Wallace and Gromit TV show or movie or anything like that. As far as I can tell, that rumor was started because of an upload by a YouTube channel called J. Rudy, who uploaded a redubbed version of this short titled Wallace and Gromit Canceled Live-Action Reboot.
Mind you, I do get a bit lonely. I've never been lucky in love. Never, ever.
Mind you, I do get a bit lonely. I've never been in love. Never, ever.
Now, J. Rudy does clarify in the description of the video that this was actually a final project for a sound design class and that they do not own the video being used. So the title of this video is a lie, sure, but it's a fun lie, so I'm not going to give J. Rudy too much of a hard time. Plus, they made a super cool Benzie Box lyric video, so, you know, I couldn't even stay mad at them if I wanted to. So if you thought this was some test pilot for a live-action Wallace and Gromit series, sorry, stupid, you're wrong. But that begs the question, what actually is this horrifying thing in front of us right now? Well, it turns out this short was originally a part of the Lenny Henry Christmas show from 1995. Lenny Henry is a comedian, and this is just one of his many sketches from his various programs over in the jolly UK. And I have to say, in researching this weird nightmare that we're looking at right now, I got a real kick out of watching some of Lenny Henry's sketches and stand-up routine. He's a really funny dude, and he puts a ton of care and attention into all of these sketches and bits that he's doing. Just look at this set for the Wallace and Gromit sketch. It's so detailed that people thought it was actually a pilot for a live-action adaptation of Wallace and Gromit. That takes some real attention to detail, and he nailed it. I mean, you gotta give him props for that at the very least, even if he didn't, you know, nail the costumes. Well, now that we know what it is, we have to look at what actually happens in this sketch. Now, Lenny Henry plays both Wallace and Gromit in a sketch titled The Right Trousers. The two are sitting down and enjoying some breakfast when Wallace starts musing about how unlucky he is with the ladies, and Gromit humors him as he rambles on. Wallace reveals he's invented a new pair of trousers that helps him to dance when music is playing, and he plans to use it to court a lady down at the dance hall. Wallace sets off after demonstrating the trousers' capabilities to Gromit, and Gromit whiles away the hours waiting for Wallace to return. Wallace returns with a lady, and he wants to show her his train set, but the lady just wants to, as the British say, "March to the evening, love," which roughly translates to perform oral sex. Wallace calls out for help, and Gromit comes to his rescue by turning on some music, causing Wallace to dance and scare off his date. Wallace wanted to bone a lady, but then he didn't, and Gromit saved him, and then when the lady is leaving, Wallace is upset. That's the order of events, and I'll be real, I took some creative liberties with how I recounted this, but no, this is actually what happens. It's a little confusing. Okay, so the sketch isn't very well written, but most of the laughs come from the concept and the very weird execution. The set design in this sketch is awesome, like genuinely really good looking with a lot of attention to detail, but the costumes are downright horrifying. They decided to make Wallace's mouth extra wide, which means it's always gaping open, and it just looks disgusting. I hate looking at it. The way that these like masks and prosthetics work seem to be like one big piece that goes over Lenny Henry's head, and then it leaves his forehead and eyes open so that you can still get a little bit of expression, but everything else is static and in place. So like everything but his eyes and forehead are frozen, which makes it feel really uncanny. But that's the sketch and the story behind it as far as I was able to uncover. Part of me wishes it was actually some kind of lost media mystery because stuff like that is super fun and mysterious. But I had a ton of fun researching this weird sketch either way. Even though it's not a big internet mystery, I'm still okay because it's just weird enough to still be worth looking into. And when you really think about it, this sort of thing encapsulates everything I want out of a lost media story without it actually being a piece of lost media. It's a little weird, a little creepy, a little uncanny, a little funny, and most importantly, really mysterious and off-putting. And what's really cool about this sketch is that even after knowing where it came from, it's still horrifying. It's still uncomfortable to look at. The context doesn't change anything. This is a gross way to present these characters. And what's even crazier about all this is that this isn't lost media, but a lot of people consider it to be because it's kind of creepy looking and weird. But there is an actual live action adaptation of Wallace and Gromit that is lost media. There's a stage play that was put out in the late 90s that featured live action versions of these characters that was never recorded and is therefore now lost media. So there is actually a live action lost media version of Wallace and Gromit. This just doesn't happen to be it. But this is what I love about researching lost media or lost media adjacent things. It's just a big rabbit hole of all this interesting information that I'm really into, and I'm definitely going to be doing more of it in the future on this channel. So if you enjoyed this, stay tuned for more coming up later. But now, if you'll excuse me, we're all done here, so I'm going to go march to the evening love on myself. See you later, everybody.